My name is Thomas Homeland. I'm the Acting Director for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I've been enforcing immigration law for 33 years. Today is a good day. I want to thank you for everybody coming today. I would like to welcome everybody here to witness the launch of the new Voice Office. First, I want to recognize some very distinguished and special guests that are sitting in the first few rows. We are truly honored to have them here with us today. By tragedies with an immigration nexus. These victims and their family members have come from all over the country to be here today. Thank you for being here. I would also like to recognize Congressman Bob Goodlatte, Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, who is joining us today and sitting in the front row also. I am honored to introduce the Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly.
Thanks, Tom. I'd like to start by saying, first and foremost, that what we are doing here today, there's nothing but goodness in what we're doing here today in establishing this office, particularly as it's an outreach to the victims of these crimes. Clearly, I'd like to thank everyone. Chairman Goodlatte, thanks for being here today. Family members, to say the least, my heart goes out to you, and I do, in fact, understand what you've been through. I'd like to thank all of the victims' families from across the nation, as represented by you that are here today, to help us shine a light on a very important group of Americans, that is the victims of these crimes. We are opening an important family. We call it the Voice Office, the Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. ICE created the Voice Office in response to our President's executive order, entitled Enhancing Public Safety in the Interior of the United States. But the name fits. We are giving people who are victimized by illegal aliens for the first time a voice of their own. All crime is terrible, but these victims, as represented here, are unique, and they're all too often ignored. They are casualties of crimes that should never have taken place because the people who victimized them should never have been here in our country. These crimes in many ways were preventable, but because of years and years of policies complicating immigration and enforcement efforts and a politically correct approach to public safety, there are mothers who will never again receive a Mother's Day card from a son. There are husbands who will never again kiss their wives. There are children who will never get to graduate from high school. They and their families deserve to be treated fairly. There are people like Brandon Mendoza, a police sergeant in Mesa, Arizona, who served his community with pride. His mother, Mary Ann Catherine Mendoza, is here with us today. Brandon volunteered with the Grant Woods Boys and Girls Club, fostered dogs, and made friends everywhere he went. On May 12th, 2014, Officer Mendoza was finishing his shift and driving home when he was killed by a drunk driving illegal alien. Officer Mendoza, to me, would be just a kid, 32 years old. The perpetrator had 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system. He had been arrested 20 years earlier and pleaded guilty to a criminal conspiracy charge, but he was given a lenient sentence, and instead of being removed, he was released back into the community. This should never have happened. While we can never fully heal these families, we can give them a voice. As President Trump said in his address during the first week of his administration, we hear you, we see you, and you will never, ever be ignored again. Creation of the Voice Office, ICE will support victims and their families in the aftermath of a crime committed by an illegal alien. Taking a victim-centered approach and their families by making information about their case available and directing them to various resources. All they have to do is dial 1-855-48-VOICE. That's 1-855-48-VOICE. And our officers will work with them to let them know about services and all of the information available to them. One service available to victims and their family members is the DHS Victim Information and Notification Exchange, or DHS VINE. DHS VINE is an automated service that helps victims track the immigration custody status of the illegal alien in question. Is he behind bars? Has he been removed from the country? Victims have a right to know. Voice can also direct victims to ICE's community relations officers. These officers serve as local ICE representatives who can answer victims' questions about their case, the offender's immigration proceedings, or just help explain the immigration enforcement and removal process. All of this can seem very, very foreign to people who are not indoctrinated in this very complicated, I'd say overly complicated series of laws. And the voice office is there to help people understand. But more than answering questions through voice can put victims in touch with victim assistance specialists who can refer them to a wide range of resources. These victim assistance specialists frequently help victims connected to Homeland Security investigation cases ranging from human trafficking to child exploitation. They can use their extensive resource networks to help victims and their families. Until today, those victimized at the hands of illegal aliens have had no point of contact in our federal government dedicated to this issue and to them. Families would call and send letters all over Washington hoping that someone in some agency would respond. That ends today. Years ago, Billy and Kathy Inman lost their 16-year-old son, Dustin, after an illegal alien crashed into their vehicle on Father's Day weekend. To this day, Mrs. Inman suffers from serious injuries she sustained during the wreck, and Mr. and Mrs. Inman also join us here today. The Inmans sent a letter to the government asking about the location of the perpetrator, who's believed to be hiding in Mexico. Just a year the Department of Justice responded. The DOJ staff offered their sympathies but made it clear there was nothing they could do. These victims deserve more than a letter. They deserve a voice. And so the Voice Office will be a great resource for these families across our country. Like any new office, we expect Voice to mature and evolve over time. Today is just a start. But our mission is clear, and that is to acknowledge the exceptional damage caused by criminal illegal aliens and to support the victims of these preventable crimes. It is also important to note that the Voice Hotline is not correction. It is also important to note what the Voice Hotline is not. It is not for reporting illegal aliens. It is not for reporting crimes. It is not for curious reporters. Victims of crimes by illegal aliens and their families have suffered tremendously, and this is their resource. It's for them. They have been ignored and are often without a voice. And as I said before, that ends today. I congratulate Director Homeland, Tom, Acting Director of the Voice Office, Barbara Gonzalez. Thank you, Barbara. I mean, you've done unbelievable work here. It's a passion for you, I know that. I was almost getting afraid yesterday when you were telling me about it. You were so passionate. Good for you. Everyone at ICE who has had a part, thank you so very, very much. And again, to Ms. Mendoza, Mr. and Mrs. Inman, and all the other victims and all the other families that are with us here today, we thank you. Even though there is nothing we can do to bring back your loved ones or to heal your injuries, we hope this shows that your president, that your country is listening, that the administration, that the Department of Homeland Security is listening and does not want you or others to ever go through this alone. Thanks so very much. Appreciate it.